Since 2005, Mr. Carino has been the Division Administrator for the Federal Highway Administration, Oklahoma Division. Please help me welcome Mr. Gary Carino.
Thank you, Lamont. Appreciate that. When you listen to my bio, a number of people say I can't hold a job, I move around so much. But after more than 40 years in this business, I've been around in a few places and held a few different positions, which have helped me to better understand the program and help manage our office now. So it's a pleasure to be with you. It's a pleasure for me to be in Oklahoma. Recently, I was asked to go down and do a little stint in Texas. Our division administrator down there had retired, and they asked me to go down there temporarily to help manage that office for a little while. That's a whole different animal down there. I have to tell you, the size of the program they have and the complexity of it. You know, you talk about money here, and we talk about thousands and millions of dollars in the Oklahoma program. Down there, they talk in the billions. I mean, you know, everything's bigger in Texas, right? But I have to tell you, they did frisk me when I went across the river down there into Texas. They wanted to make sure I was okay coming out of Oklahoma, and I had real business in Texas. But it's been interesting. It's been an interesting career. But I think what I want to talk about today a little bit is opportunities. And I think that's really the reason that all of you are here today. Isn't that correct? I mean, you're looking for ways to better understand the program and for opportunities maybe to grow your business, and expand your business, and do more with your business. So that's what I want to talk about today a little bit, is opportunities, and hopefully opportunities that you can take advantage of. And there's two parts to what I want to present to you this morning. And one, as you can see from the slide, is a program that we have called Everyday Counts. It's a current program, and I'll go into a little bit of detail of that in a minute. But the first part I wanted to show you was the opportunity that came about back in 1961. Now, I have the advantage of having been around in 1961 and can remember some of those things. And as I look around the room, there's probably a few of you that are with me on that. Many of you probably are not. But back in 1961, there was a program called the Interstate Highway Program System that was being built. It was 5 years into the stage of being built. It initially started in '56 when President Eisenhower signed the highway bill for it. But it expanded and grew rapidly, and it was a time of great opportunity, not only for the highway program, but for all businesses. There are many businesses saw the opportunity that improved transportation and improved transportation system was going to bring to our economy, increasing jobs and increasing growth in different business programs. So I want to start with a little clip from 1961. As you might imagine, it's in black and white, and the quality is not the greatest. But I'd like you to take a look at it and focus on the comments that the people and the businesses are mentioning and the opportunities that they see available to them back then. And then I'm going to talk about the opportunities that are available for you now, but that can equate to that as well. So let's take a look at that.
In the future, as far as our interstate, it's all important as the railroads were important to the community 100 years ago.
The population here today is approximately 3,000, where just before the interstate highway went in, we had a population of a little over 800 people.
And I suspect within the next 10 years that this entire highway, I-35, will be a solid community from the Kansas City boundaries all the way to Olathe.
At the time we acquired this property, we found that it was more expensive than other property that was available. However, we chose this because of the interstate system, and we found that we made a wise decision.
This is where the Santa Fe Trail began. Today it is Kansas City, crossroads of American transportation and industry. Since the 19th century, this city has been a livestock and grain market, railroad and industry headquarters. Now the interstate and defense highway system is opening up new avenues of growth and providing direction and a timetable for the progress that will keep this and all other American cities alive. Kansas City and the nearby towns and villages combine to form a metropolitan area that is a cross-section as well as a crossroads. The attitudes and opinions expressed by the people here are repeated over and over all across the country. It is an ideal location to investigate the importance and the impact of the interstate highway on the nation's economy. Here we can find men like C.C. Pember, store owner and civic leader in Olathe, Kansas. He lives and works just 20 minutes from Kansas City on Interstate 35, and he has seen what the new highway has done for his community.
We have had several large industries, the largest of which is the Delco plant of General Motors, the King Radios, and several lesser-sized plants come to the community. There has been increased business activity with new firms and new stores, and it has widened our trade territory. In the future, as far as our interstate, it's all important as the railroads were important to the community 100 years ago.
As important as the railroads were 100 years ago. Important because trucks, not trains, are carrying the freight to most cities and towns today, and because passenger cars, not Pullman cars, are carrying the people. The interstate system is a highway system separate and unique from all other highways in America. 90% of the cost of building the 41,000-mile limited access high-speed roadway is being paid by the federal government, with taxes paid by the highway users. When it is completed in 1972, the network will carry 1/5 of all the country's traffic, even though it will be only 1% of the total highway system. Already, the interstate system is shortening the distance between terminals and making every community accessible. Travel and shipping times are less, routes more direct, and fragile and perishable goods arrive fresher and in better condition. The new roads mean lower costs to both shipper and shopper, and at the same time, they free commercial districts of profitless through traffic. With the growing network comes growth for the communities it serves.
Hey, I'm Bruce Dickey, Vice President of the Farmers State Bank here in Lenexa. When I-35 came in, we saw quite a housing development, and recently, in the last 6 months to a year, we have seen a very substantial interest by industry to come into our community. Well, Farmers State has a lot of faith in the community in Lenexa, and we are in the process at the present time of constructing a new bank building on a site just 1 block north of where we are. The building that we now have has been sold to one of our local merchants who is going to expand his present operation into a supermarket. New industry has been very receptive to our community, and presently we have General Motors, who has just about ready to move into their new building, which is on I-35, and we have 2 or 3 other companies that are coming in that will employ in the neighborhood of 100 to 200 people.
New jobs mean new people and a new standard of living for older communities. Each interstate mile that brings a suburban community closer to the city it serves means more people willing to drive the 20 or 30 or even 50 miles between home and job. It is reflected in the housing developments growing up around the interchanges and beyond the rights of way. As the population grows, so must the local businesses that serve the everyday needs of the people. The interstate highways and connecting urban beltways and freeways practically bring the marketplace to the consumer. Expansion of local stores and the creation of new shopping centers are part of the prosperity that comes with good roads. A large part of that prosperity is the increase in employment resulting from industrial and commercial expansion into suburban and rural areas served by the interstate system. Typical is this research center for a Kansas City chemical company. C.Y. Thomas tells how his company selected the location.
We wanted to be fairly close to downtown Kansas City because we have about 300 people in our general headquarters down there. It is our general operating headquarters, but we didn't want to be too far away. I finally settled on 3 locations along what was then US 50, the highway to Olathe, Kansas, because I knew that in a very short time, Interstate 35 was going to come right by our door, and this would give us high-speed transportation downtown Kansas City. Our people can get downtown to our main office where Dr. Robertson, the head of our Research and Development Department, has his offices. They can get down there in 15 to 20 minutes from this place, and this makes it a splendid location. I suppose that the average resident is probably not over 10 minutes from this particular center, and that's a tremendous advantage.
Wherever you look today, industries of all types are discovering the same kinds of advantages described by Mr. Thomas. They range from heavy manufacturing to light industry. Insurance companies. Executive offices and government installations. For all, the advantages are the same. Room to build and expand. Parking. Access to high-speed direct highways. The effects of this 41,000-mile highway system are felt everywhere. Every business of any size can see and take part in the changing concepts of location and service. Dean Edwards is president and general manager of a truck sales and service company in Kansas City. He explains his move from an established location this way.
We chose this location due to the accessibility to the freeways and the major highways running through this area. We have found that since our move here, our business has increased immediately and has constantly been on the increased fence. Due to the accessibility to the highways, the customers find it much easier to get to us. We found a piece of property that had a parking area than the property here. However, it wasn't accessible to the interstate freeway system. I think that the urban renewal program possibly was prompted partially because of the interstate system.
Urban renewal prompted because of the interstate system. Mr. Edwards was, of course, speaking about Kansas City. But the same thing could be said for almost every city and town in our country. The masses of earth, steel, and concrete that are being moved and molded to build the interstate system are setting up waves of movement in all our urban areas. New jobs for the construction workers. Increased production for industries that supply them. Tenement neighborhoods and blighted commercial districts replaced by modern communities, all bringing a new face to the American cityscape. The new highways, with access ramps, connecting loops, and feeder streets, are being integrated into total transportation plans for urban areas. It is happening in Hartford and Chicago, Minneapolis and San Francisco, Kansas City, and New York City. Where the roads go, new buildings follow. In Chicago, tenements are being replaced by modern low-cost apartments on land adjacent to high-speed freeways. In New York City, a 36-story apartment building is growing in the airspace above the freeway leading from the George Washington Bridge. Just beyond is a terminal for commuter buses, providing effective use of the space left by the depressed highway constructed below. In fact, as far as the eye can see, in almost every city, concrete and asphalt are changing the patterns of land and land use. Soon, traffic will flow smoothly in, around, and between every major city and town in America. There will be no traffic tie-ups where the interstate goes. Driving time will become minutes for local trips, and city-to-city travel will be shorter by hours. The interstate and defense highway system is opening new vistas for all highway users. The complete network will make it possible to drive coast to coast and border to border without a stoplight, without delays caused by heavy traffic. The scenic beauty of our land will be within sight of every traveler. Tires on the pavement will sing, "Come on, America, the welcome mat is out." Every city and every state will be at the end of an access ramp or just beyond the next interchange. There will be no lack of opportunity to stop at the traveler's convenience. The fingers of concrete and asphalt will beckon all Americans to recreation and resort areas of all sizes and kinds. This is the road to prosperity. It is already bringing a new kind of life to people like these and to the places where they live. The end of the road lies ahead in the future. The fulfillment of the promises made by these signs of an America designed for the transportation that serves it lies at the end of that road.
Hopefully you enjoyed a retrospective look at something that happened back more than 50 years ago. How'd you like some of the comments in there about no traffic tie-ups with the interstate system? System would be complete by 1971, and you could drive coast to coast without delay. Good foresight, good planning, good hopes and opportunities. But again, like I said, hopefully you observed some of the businessmen in there and talking about the opportunities that they saw and how they grasped onto it and jumped into it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit here with my slides. I mentioned Everyday Counts. This is a program that's currently in place. It was initiated by our administrator a couple of years ago. And the whole purpose of the program is just what the title says. Make every day counts. Do whatever you're doing, whatever you're working on, whatever you're trying to do, make it count. Do the best you can every day and make every day count and moving forward with your program, with your businesses, with whatever you're doing. And with that, we have a number, and the whole idea of that program, as far as transportation is concerned, is how can we make the process of getting projects designed, get through the design, environmental review, planning, all the different phases, and then through construction, to get projects to construction and then through construction as quickly and efficiently as possible, and get those projects completed. First of all, get the projects out there, get people working, get the jobs out there for the people that are going to do those that work on those projects, and then get through the projects, get them completed, and get them out there for the traveling public to use as efficiently as possible. And with that, we're trying to establish innovative methods that can be utilized to accomplish that, as well as incorporating technologies that will help make the process more efficient, help make the projects more durable and safer. And that's where you can come in. That's where you can latch on to some of these innovations, some of these technologies, some of these efforts, some of these efficiencies. And maybe you can incorporate them into your businesses or utilize them or specialize in them or bring them to the program somehow. And when you do that, you're going to make the program better overall, and it's going to make a better provide an opportunity for you and your business as well. I don't have time to go through every single innovation and technology that in the program, but I just want to run through a few slides. You can see what's up here as far as shortening project delivery and moving the planning and environmental process along together, programmatic agreements between agencies to move the projects forward, planning for mitigation in advance, going through legal sufficiency reviews, scoping out preliminary design in a better way and incorporating utility accommodations and moving that along, flexibility of right-of-way and purchasing and advancing right-of-way, technical assistance, and a number of these are being used here in Oklahoma as well already. Some of the technologies, the safety edge on the edges of your asphalt pavements to provide a safer edge. It's a small technology that's incorporated into the paver itself and produces a safer edge so vehicles that run off the road. We do have a significant issue with vehicles running off the road in Oklahoma. So whatever we can do when they try to counter steer back on, if there's a vertical face on the edge of that pavement, a lot of times that wheel will catch on that vertical face, and then drivers tend to oversteer. When that wheel catches, it drives the car right across the road. It might drive it into another lane of traffic or oncoming traffic. That safety edge allows them to just come right up onto the pavement much easier. So, I mean, that's an innovation, small innovation that does a lot for a safety standpoint. Warm mix asphalt instead of our hot mixes. It produces an asphalt mix at a much lower temperature. It's safer for the workers. It's environmentally better. It provides a greener capacity with using less fuel and less emissions. I've heard contractors talk about the fact that their insurance rates actually go down because the contractors, because they're working with a mix that's not as hot. And the durability and the use of the mix is just as good as hot mix. And most of the plants here in Oklahoma have the capability of producing warm mix, and many of the contractors are already using it on projects here. Different types of bridge construction systems that are more efficient, both helping to design those bridges and build those type of design of bridges. Slide-in bridges. We have a slide-in bridge project out in the Tulsa area where you actually build the bridge next to the roadway, and so that you don't have to delay the traveling public on long detours for a long period of time. You actually build that bridge, the superstructure on the side of the roadway. When you're ready, you actually slide the old superstructure off, slide the new one right in. So rather than detouring traffic for months at a time, you're only talking probably days or maybe a week and inconveniencing the traveling public. All good ways of improving the system and making it more efficient. Signal control. How many times do you stop at a green light, you go a block, and the light turns red as you get to it? Or stop at a green light, you stop at a red light. And light turns green on you, and then you go to the next block and it turns red on you again. So, you know, just helping progression of the traffic through the system. We've applied a number of these innovations here in Oklahoma, and I've just touched on a few of them. But there are different ways that each of you can become involved or knowledgeable. Again, this is talking about some of the, I talked about sliding bridges. There's prefab ways of building bridges. It's like an erector set. You build all the components off-site. You come on-site and just put them together, assemble it, and you go. And it moves much quicker and less impact to the traveling public, much more efficient. Design build, it's where you're actually letting the contract and then starting after just like 35% design on it, and then you're actually designing it as you're still constructing it. So you're moving the projects forward much quicker. That's not something, and same thing with general contractor manager projects. It's where the contractor is actually involved in the design process, helping to remove some of the risks, help lower the cost of the project so that those projects can move forward more efficiently and hopefully can be bid at a lower cost as well. Concepts that are not in use in Oklahoma yet, but something that could be considered. Programmatic agreements, just real quick, we're doing a lot of this in the environmental area here in Oklahoma, where there's different agreements between a lot of the state and federal agencies, so that you don't have to hammer out every little detail on every project as far as environmental reviews, mitigation, things like that. you know in advance what you can do and what it's going to take to get there, and it moves the projects along much more efficiently. I mentioned the safety edge. There's the shoe that just goes on the paver. You can see that it puts a slope on the edge of the pavement. It makes it much safer. Warm mix asphalt. You can see right behind the paver. How many times with a hot mix could you put your hand on the pavement behind the paver? So you get the same durability at a lower cost in a much safer situation. We started with what we called everyday counts, a lot of the things I just mentioned to you, and moved into everyday counts 2, as we call it, where we're trying to expand and use different other innovations and technologies. Many times, most of the time, we do go out and ask for everybody's input as to what these innovations or technologies should be. It's not just that we, sit up there and say, oh, this is great and you should use it. We always look for input from everybody. Anyone who wants to provide input, here's an innovation that I have or I've experienced or I think will work and that we can go forward with. And, if it's something good, we'll help promote it for you. So that's the way we're moving into everyday counts too, and the different technologies that we're going with that there. And here's some of the things that we're doing there. 3D modeling for engineering, three-dimensional engineering. Do that during the design phase. You can actually take the digital information, give it to the contractor, plugs it into his computers on the equipment. A number of the equipment can go out there and almost run by itself to build the roadway. Much more efficient, saves a lot of time, a lot of handwork, a lot of testing as well. Here in Oklahoma, there have been 3 projects that have already been let using 3D modeling, particularly for roadway construction with a lot of dirt work, dirt that has to be moved or constructed. So we're getting started in that area here in Oklahoma as well. To me, this is the future of the highway program. It's something that everybody in this room should be thinking about or get to know about and maybe want to be involved in. It's everybody, a lot of people are moving in this direction. A lot of the contractors like to want to go this way. Again, more accelerated bridge construction. How can you accelerate it? That's very important to Oklahoma. As you know, there's an extensive bridge program for construction here in Oklahoma to construct many of the bridges and get a lot of the deficient bridges reconstructed or rehabilitated here in the state. So we're right there with you. There's different methods of doing it other than just the conventional way of doing it. There's ways that can be advanced to accelerate it. I mentioned some of these already. Intelligent compaction is another one. It's where you take that digital information, you actually put it in a computer on your roller, and the roller will actually go out and make the number of passes that are needed out there and compact the material, whether it be a subgrade or pavement or whatever, asphalt pavement. And it'll compact it to the design. It tests the material that it's compacting as it's rolling it. So it knows when it reaches that optimum compaction level. So instead of going out there and saying, well, I need 4 passes or 6 passes, you may get it done in 2 passes because you're testing it right as you go and you know exactly what it's done. It saves time, saves work, it's more efficient, and you get exactly what you want out there. It improves, a lot of things that we're promoting besides being efficient for the transportation program is environmentally sound and helps improve safety along the way as well. Geospatial data collaboration, it's just a way of sharing data between agencies. And so many agencies have so much data in their own programs, whether it be on their GIS system or wherever it may be, and just being able to share that information and utilize it on projects. High friction surface treatments is another technology. We've built one project here in Oklahoma with that already. You don't build an entire project with it, you build a short section where you may have, again, extensive run off the road accidents in a curve or something like that. And rather than going in there and trying to rebuild the entire roadway or super elevating the roadway, you can just put a very thin layer on the top that increases the surface friction, keeps those vehicles on the road instead of running off. It's a much more effective manner to treat those type of locations. And we are starting to look at that and do that here in Oklahoma. Improved environmental documentation, making it simpler for everybody to get through the process and better understand what the documents are telling you and what they're trying to study. Improving intersection and interchange geometrics. There's a variety of different technologies. There's new and innovative designs that can be utilized in these areas that will help expedite the project as well as extremely improving the safety of those areas. SHARP 2, it's an acronym, Strategic Highway Research Program. It ties in very well with the Everyday Counts program. Again, it's bringing innovations out of research that maybe some of you or your programs are studying or utilizing, and take it out of research, bring it into the real world and use it on projects. This is our administrator, or was our administrator at the time, a couple of years ago when we started the Everyday Counts program. And as you can see, as I try to explain when we started, it's trying to be more efficient with our projects, to move them more quickly through the process, and creating a better, faster, smarter approach to the way we do business. Administrator Mendez is currently our acting Secretary of Transportation in the Secretary's office. So he's moved up in the world and is doing well for himself. So this is where I'll wind it up. The difficulty lies not so much in developing the new ideas, because there's many of them out there, whether they've come through research or through industry or wherever they've come from. But it's escaping from the old ones where we always say, hey, we've always done it that way. It works great. Why change? There's new and innovative ways of doing things. There's a lot of opportunity. Again, there's that word, opportunity, for you to get involved. Let me just say, I wasn't able to really do this justice as far as describing all the innovations or technologies, but I hope I just whet your appetite a little bit as to ways maybe you can get involved, or some ways that it'll help your business or program. If you want more information about the program, one way to do it is to go to our website. I'll give that to you, www.fhwa.dot.gov. It's a little easier to get to than the ODOT site. You go on there, you'll see right on the front page, Everyday Counts, and you can get just about any information you need. In addition to that, Darren Kalinin from my office in the back of the room now, got himself a cup of coffee. Feel free to contact him for any additional information on the Everyday Counts program or how you can get involved. Or contact Greg or Lamont or anybody on Greg's team that he introduced earlier, or anybody on the panel up here. They're all involved in the Everyday Counts program. So if we can provide more information to help you out, get you involved, we'd like to do that. So hopefully I've whet your appetite. You're a little interested in the program. You're seeing what the opportunities are here, and you'll take advantage of it. Appreciate the time to be with you today. It's been good. I've been at all these meetings since ODOT started their DBE conferences, so it's a pleasure to be with you again today. Enjoy the rest of your conference, and thank you.